We're just adjusting the video here. As you know, I'm Natasha, one of the owners at Helping to Reconnect Counseling Services. I co-own it with Marta, and I am a registered social worker. I always talk about kind of like strategies on how to manage anxiety, depression, all of those kind of things. And I do a lot of couples counseling. So I thought I would bring in my fiance for one of the videos and talk about what it's like to be in a relationship with a therapist and what it's like to be in a relationship with an entrepreneur, and maybe some of the good things and the bad things about that. So I'm going to ask him. It's really off the fly. He was even hesitant to be in the video, but here it goes. So his name's Christian.
Hi.
Christian, I kind of wanted to ask you, what is it like to be in a relationship with a therapist and a entrepreneur?
Well, I mean, I'd love to say that it's all roses, but we all know that life is a mixed bag of everything. I would definitely say it has a lot of good, and, you know, it comes with the good and the bad. I would say there's definitely some positive aspects of watching you in your element, being home together. You know, just seeing you be passionate about what it is that you do and excel at it. You know, it's a sight to behold for sure. And I would also say that it's just making a difference, like your ability to sit down and speak with someone, knowing full well that the outcome of that is a positive one, or it brings some sort of change or difference to somebody else's life. That's definitely good. But then, of course, coming through that, you know, you've got a very demanding sort of schedule, and you know, it's almost like you want to have time with your partner, but you know, the entrepreneur side of it demands a lot of attention to the business, and so with that comes, you know, just a feeling of, you know, maybe not having enough time together, or not having each other's full attention in some cases. So, you know, it's good with the bad. But I mean,
if you want more time with me, that's fantastic. That signs of a good relationship, I would say.
I mean, at the end of the day, we live under the same roof. But it's funny, you know. Some days you'll see your partner, you'll get to spend the quality time, and then other times, you know, it's almost like you hadn't seen them in weeks. You know, it just you see them in the morning, and then they'll just disappear, even though they're under the same roof. Disappear. They'll in your case have to deal with a whole slew of appointments back to back to back. Probably won't even have any time to eat. I'll cook something, and then I'll place it, and it'll just disappear. It's almost like somebody came out of the woodwork, ate it, and left. You know, so
he's an amazing cook. I'm fortunate in that way. I wanted to ask you a question just to kind of give some insight to people watching this video. Because when I'm doing couples counseling, I talk to them a lot about setting boundaries in their relationship. And I always say to them, it's not my job to set the boundaries in your relationship. That's kind of your guys' job as a couple, because we might set boundaries that's good for our relationship, but it might not work for somebody else's relationship. And I say the most important thing is that you and your partner are on the same page. And I know you always tell me that you've learned a lot about boundaries from
100%,
me.
100%.
So maybe giving some insight to our viewers on what you think about boundaries and why it might be helpful for them to set their own boundaries in their relationships.
Absolutely. I think your understanding of what an appropriate boundary is or isn't really is the product of your relationship, and it is kind of like, to what you said, an agreement on how both partners see what is appropriate and what is not. And admittedly, I'm sure, you know, in the past, I haven't lived that black and white or the sort of clear definition of boundaries the way that I've learned, you know, in a more sort of transparent relationship. And you know, one thing that I've definitely learned from you is just the whole sort of like black and white kind of understanding of what a clear definition of a boundary is. And I think that's important to couples for sure, especially early on in a relationship. I think establishing those boundaries, establishing what is acceptable to one person, you know, what one person may feel is fine may totally not be all right with someone else. And you really got to hash those things out early on, because it really puts you both on sort of that same page, and that way it doesn't leave anything up to guessing or just wondering, you know, if that person is abiding by those boundaries or not.
Who knows? Maybe his next calling will be to be a therapist.
I think I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm going to leave that up to you for sure.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys, and we'll touch base soon.
Nice seeing you guys. Bye.